everyone. Welcome back to my podcast. Once again, my name is Angel Theodore, and we are kind of switching over from Soul Image 365 to my self care catalyst. And I think I'm going to name this podcast the Self Care Corner. So put in the comments if you are in agreement with that. I think that just sounds really well or sounds really good. And every week we can just come to our self care corner and prepare ourselves for everything we have ahead. But today I have a special guest. It is Jenny Chanell. She is amazing. She is based in Florida and she works with trauma and healing and all those things. So let me pull up her bio to introduce her and then we're just going to jump into the conversation. So, Jenny is a trauma healing coach and mentor who helps women of faith bridge the gap between their spiritual and emotional worlds so they can finally feel whole, seen, and fully alive. She guides her clients back to their embodied pace or peace and radiant self-leadership using somatic parts work, nervous system healing, and faith-based wisdom. As the founder of Wild Grace Coaching, Jenny empowers women to honor their own sacred rhythms. Oh, I love that. Shed the weight of unworthiness and go after their dreams with fierce faith and joyful embodiment. So, welcome, Jenny. Oh my gosh, just reading that. I know I've known you for a few years, but just reading that, I'm like, that is amazing and it's so needed. So, how did you get into that work? How did you get into like, we need to bridge faith and we need to bridge like self care and healing and all those things?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you so much for having me, and I'm excited to be a part of the self-care corner and love what you're building. Yeah, I love really merging our health as a whole and kind of taking a holistic approach to healing because I found myself, gosh, probably 5 or 6 years ago now, pursuing a relationship with Jesus
Mhm.
and also healing from unresolved trauma from my life experience.
Yeah.
But they honestly felt like two separate worlds. And I was like,
Huh.
there's got to be overlap here. And I keep learning about Jesus being a savior and someone who cares about your hurts and your suffering. And then I'm over here learning the mechanics of your nervous system and how trauma affects your body. And I'm gaining all of this knowledge, but I'm wanting to have this cohesive experience. And so I prayed for an
Oh,
overlap to come and I was like, I know people have got to be asking the same question that I'm asking. And that's when I found faith-based life coaching. And it just kind of opened up a whole world for me to explore about, yeah, really just these worlds being cohesive and overlapping.
oh my gosh, that's beautiful. And it's so needed because I grew up in the church, like, it's still and involved. I love Jesus and all those things. But whenever I would talk about, feeling down or having anxiety, I was told to pray it away, and I was actually one of the first people in my family to seek counseling. And it felt so countercultural, like so taboo, and I'm like, Jesus, is it okay to be doing this? I don't know. But the thing is, like, he has merged those things together. And the way that I look at it now is that, like, if you break your bone, you're going to go to the doctor, right? Or if you have a cold or if you're sick, you're going to go to a doctor that takes care of your body and you're going to work to get healing. So that's the same thing with the mind, like if you are going through anxiety, depression, if you have PTSD or anything like that, then you're going to go see a specialist and it's okay. It doesn't make you bad. It doesn't make you unworthy. It doesn't mean that you don't have enough faith if you're in the church or anything like that. So I love that you found like cohesion with those two things.
Yeah. Yeah. And likewise. And you're so right. Like that notion of just praying something away,
Yeah.
uh, it has a beautiful heart posture, especially for those who are familiar with faith. But
Mm.
yeah, I think without having a more holistic approach, we could really be missing pieces in our self care journey and our healing journey.
That's true. And I love that you're taking like the holistic approach. So I was in therapy for about 10 years. And I think this year I've like been able to pull off of it. But then I realized I'm like, I might need EMDR or something else. And for those of you out there who aren't familiar with the different therapy types, there is like talk therapy. So like talking to someone and like working through the issues that you've been through or like where you want to go. And then there's like EMDR, or even somatic work where, so we'll start with EMDR. It's like tapping and eye movement, and it's actually pretty cool. It's kind of a wax on, wax off way to remove any pain out of your body. So I don't know if anyone out there feels like this, or maybe Jenny, you felt like this before, where like a memory comes up or something and you have like a pain or a sensation in your body. So with that, like the EMDR, it helps to move that pain out of your body so you can move forward. And so I love that you are doing the holistic approach, because some people may need to talk to you, but some people may actually need to do like the somatic breath work or things like that to heal and care for themselves.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think that there's so many brilliant ways that we can actually heal. And I always like to say like there's 10 paths up the same mountain that get you to the same view and overlook. And you actually get to just kind of explore which trailheads feel most desirable to you. So yeah, I love that there are so many helpful healing modalities available to us now.
Definitely. So if you were to talk to someone, let's say someone wants to go on this healing journey, but they have no idea where to start, what would be your like first step for them to help narrow this down? Because there are a lot of options. So like what would you recommend for them?
Yeah, amazing. Oh my gosh. Wow. Well, I think even just admitting like I I think I could use some support, or I think it would be okay if I asked for help. Um,
Yeah.
even just acknowledging that for yourself, or, praying that to the Lord, or admitting that to a friend, like that's a really powerful first step that I think is actually pretty scary for most people. Just acknowledging and admitting, either with your thoughts or your words, like, oh, I don't know if I can do this on my own.
Mm-hmm. That's
And
so good. Oh, good.
yeah, yeah, I think that that's a really powerful first step. But I also think too, there are like we live in a world where we have so much access to one
Yeah.
another. And so you can literally go on TikTok and type in one of your symptoms and
Mhm.
be connected with people who are having conversations around that, or chat GBT and it can make recommendations to you. We do have access to,
So true.
yeah.
And I have a love, I don't want to say hate relationship with ChatGPT, but I'm a writer. I work in communications by day and I'm an author and all these things. So I'm like, I don't want them to put me out of a job. But ChatGPT has been so helpful, and I've gone to ChatGPT for advice here and there. I'm not even gonna lie, I'll put that out there. But there are ways to kind of narrow it down, or if you're looking for like counselors in your area or people to talk to, ChatGPT can pull all of those resources for you. So then you're not having to search and all those things. So that is a great first step, though, just like admitting that like you do need help and it's okay to need help. I know many of us are on like different journeys or different walks of life, and it may feel scary to ask for help, or you may not think anyone's out there, but I want to let you know like there is a community for you here in Self-Care Catalyst, and people and women who want to support you, because I'm learning, and I full-heartedly believe like in anything. You can do things on your own, but it's going to take longer, it's going to be harder, and it's just going to be more strenuous on your body, essentially, right? But when you work together, you're just going to move a lot faster, a lot smoother, and to have support. And I think that's one of the biggest tricks that I've seen um, of the enemy in the spiritual world. Um, is that he makes you think that you are the only one going through something, and he uses shame to isolate you. So when you're going through these things, or you're thinking you need help. Maybe you think you're the only one who's stressed out about work, family, finances, all those things. The enemy wants to keep you isolated in that. But when you open up and you find out that there's other people going through what you're essentially going through too, it helps take that weight off. And it's like, whoa, I'm not the only one going through this. And that's why I use a lot of statistics in my work too to let people know, like 1 in 4 girls want to change something about their body. It's like, whoa, okay, if you want to change something about your body, you're not alone. So, what are your thoughts on that? Like, kind of
Yeah.
realizing, like, okay, I'm not alone in shame and isolation and all those things.
Absolutely. Yeah, I love what you're building because community is the place where we heal. And
So good. Yes.
it absolutely is. And your system, your nervous system only needs to come into contact with one safe person in
Oh,
order to re-anchor into safety. And you'd be so surprised how much can open up just from like uttering like I don't think I can handle all of this. I don't think I can figure all this out on my own. And even just the conversation that that's going to spark, the permission that that's going to give for honesty to come
mm,
into your relationships. And healing truly comes through community. So I love your emphasis on that. It is the place where we heal.
oh,
Absolutely.
wow. That is so beautiful. And I didn't know that you only need one safe person to really anchor your nervous system. So do you want to talk about that a little bit more?
Yeah, absolutely. The technical term is called co-regulation.
Ah,
And
okay.
yeah, you can regulate your nervous system, which is just the process of shifting into a more peaceful state of being where you feel really calm and connected and curious about the world and compassionate towards yourself. And that's really kind of the place that I think most of us strive to be. And we can access that through co-regulation. And so it's just where two people come together and one person is ushering in safety and regulation, and both people can benefit from having access to that. The cool thing is that you can co-regulate with God if you have a relationship with him, and you can co-regulate actually with yourself
Mhm.
because
Yes.
you always have access to peace, even if a part of you doesn't fully believe that you do, or a part of you is
Wow.
freaking out or scared. Yeah.
That is beautiful. And I love that you were saying that you can co-regulate with yourself. And the reason I love it is because you're always going to be with you. Like at the end of the day, you're going to be with you. You're going to be with you when you're 40, when you're 80, when you're 90. You're just, you're going to be with you. And so it's good to seek help from other people, but it's also so important to build that trust with yourself and love yourself and get to know you because at the end of the day, sometimes you may not be able to reach out to that friend. Sometimes, that friend could be busy or other things. So it's very important to get to know you and to build that trust. So, what tips would you give for people to start building that trust or like start regulating with themselves?
Yeah, gorgeous.
I love
Well,
you say that, by the way. I saw you say that in like a text message or a message to me earlier. I was like, oh, that's so cute. I love it.
yeah, yes, yes, absolutely. Um, yeah, well, I think you know, what I would say to someone who wants to begin building that relationship with themselves and exploring co-regulation with themselves um, is actually, I would probably highlight the fact that we live in a world where we're so overwhelmed right now.
Yes.
Access to information that we talked about being a good thing earlier, it is, but it can also really overwhelm us.
Mhm.
We're so overstimulated, we're so overburdened. And because of that, our nervous system is naturally looking for all of the things we're coming up short on, all
Mm.
the ways we're maybe not doing our best or not keeping up. Um, and that's just kind of the natural lens
Mhm.
of what we're looking for. So to know that is helpful because we can kind of hack that a little bit.
Yeah.
Dr. Deb Dana, she talks about the concept of glimmers and find
Mhm.
hopeful, peaceful moments throughout your day. And I think that there's so much goodness behind that. So that would be what I would have anyone start with is your system's naturally going to find the things that you're falling short on. So be sure to be looking really intentionally for the ways that you are actually winning at life right now.
That is so good. And I started doing this in a new way too. And it's just documenting things. So the first thing, is on my calendar. I have a wall calendar up here, and every day I work out, I put an X on it because I know a lot of us are like overachievers and whatnot. And I used to be like, oh man, I need to work out more. I need to do this. But now that I document it, it's like, wow, I've worked out almost every day this month except maybe 4 days, something like that. So creating a visual for you to see like how good you're doing or um, a win sheet, every time you do something well, write it down. Also, gratitude. It's funny, I didn't expect this episode to be so salesy, but gratitude and looking at the things that are going well. So, we're having a my self-care catalyst gratitude journal coming soon too. But documenting everything that went well. It could be a blessing, it could be a great conversation you had. Maybe you got a discount. Maybe you spoke up in a meeting that you didn't think you'd be able to speak up in, and people liked your idea. And yeah, you document it, and then from there you can reflect on it. And then there's affirmations in here as well to remind you of who you are, or to remind you to focus on the positive, because I agree, Jenny. Like the state of the world that we're in, but then also the way our brains are wired, it's to look for the negative, it's to look for the threat and all those things. But because God's so amazing, He made our brains malleable and kind of like a computer. You can rewire your brain just like you would kind of like update a computer. But you do have to put in some work and just really start focusing on the positive. And you can start small, but over time you're going to build momentum and you're going to be able to start focusing on the positive essentially. So this is some good stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that metaphor that your brain is like a computer and
Yeah.
the gratitude and finding those glimmers and those wins, it literally writes new code for that computer and it's totally going to change the function of it. So I absolutely love that. You're spot on.
Thank you. Yes, and I wish I could take credit for the computer analogy, but it was actually Sammy and Spencer Robbins that's the first time I heard that analogy from them, and there are some wonderful life coaches as well. Um, so with that, okay, we've talked about like the positivity and all those things. Oh yes, I was going to give you all another tip as well. And I did this last year too, so just know things can kind of ebb and flow as you're finding what works for you. But at the end of every month, I would do a photo dump, and I would do like highlights from January, highlights from February, and all those things. And it would remind me of like, wow, look at all this greatness that was happening. Look at the accomplishments I made and all those things. So I would encourage you, if that's something you want to do, to create like a photo dump every month and just reflect on like all the goodness that's happened, because it will make a difference. You may not see it right away, but in due time you'll see it. And I know a lot of people want instant gratification, and I'm sorry, things do take time, but you'll see it a lot sooner than you expect, especially when you're reflecting every month. It's amazing. So,
Yeah. Yeah, I love that. Yeah, what else have you found is kind of helping to facilitate a really regulated, trusted relationship with yourself?
that is a good question. So, definitely the win sheet. And this is something I started when I was first on this journey. And I don't think a lot of you know this, but I dealt with a lot of self-hatred. Like, honestly, I thought I was the worst thing since global warming. I thought the world would be better without me. And I just felt that I wasn't good enough. So I learned that words of affirmation is my love language. And it did kind of start, Jenny, with being with a safe person or having safe people pour into my life. And so with that, I was like, oh, wow, if people think I'm great, maybe I am great. And then I started to remind myself of that greatness. And I did a lot of affirmations and I'd write them everywhere. I'd put them in my phone. I'd put them on my mirror. I'd put them just like everywhere so I would start to subconsciously see them. And that really helped me to build trust with myself and also going to God, like listening to what God was saying to me, because a lot of the times, like, He only has positive things to say about you. He only has like greatness for you. And so it's like, okay, if he's saying all these great things and people are saying all these great things about me, then it must be true. So then I started to believe it. And that helped me to build equity with myself and just also give myself grace. I heard another analogy by another consultant named Abby Stumble. And she said, if you think about God, he is like 1 billion years old, right? He's been around a hot minute. And so to him, we're like toddlers. That means we're not going to know everything. That means that we're going to have to learn how to do things. So, like, as you grow up, you have to learn to tie your shoe, right? And your parents aren't like, oh my gosh, how come you don't know how to tie your shoe yet? Why did you make another mistake? How come you cannot tie your shoe? No, they're going to cheer you on. Like when you tie your shoe that first time, they're like, oh my gosh, I'm so excited for you. Whereas you're learning, they're like, you can do it. I'm so proud of you. So that's how God is looking at us too. And so now I give myself that grace as I'm learning something new or even trying to adapt new lifestyles with my own self care. I'm like, I'll get it. I can get it. And those days that I do, I cheer myself on and I celebrate those wins.
Yeah, I love that so much.
Oh, thank you. Yeah. What about you? What are some ways that you were able to build that equity and trust with yourself?
Yeah, I think, you know, I kind of came to, well, I think first and foremost, I think I first learned that God liked me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And when I started learning that he liked me, it really became natural to mirror that and begin liking myself. And yeah, I don't think I realized on a conscious level that I was lovable and good and beautiful and kind. And for him to speak those things into my life through encountering his love and growing intimacy with him,
Yeah.
I I started believing it. And with this like self-love movement that
Mhm.
you're really ushering here, he has really good things to say about you. And I think if I'm being totally honest, I was probably scared to ask him what he thought about me.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
just in case it was like not good or somewhat good, but also not all the way good. So I think that that's one of the most pivotal things that took place in my relationship with myself is I feel like God's love gave me permission to believe that I was beloved.
I love that. And oh, he said so many beautiful things there. Like number one, he liked you, like likes you currently, present tense. And I say that because sometimes people will say, like God loves me or I know I'm loved. But sometimes people can look at love as like, okay, well, I love you because I have to. Or you hear people talk about, okay, you love your spouse, but do you like your spouse, right? And so that means like God enjoys being around you. That means that he likes you. Like he just wants to hang out with you. He thinks you're the coolest person in the world. So that was beautiful. And then you said beloved after that. And that's one of the things that spoke to me a lot as well, because I also felt like God hated me essentially. I grew up very like fire and brimstone, like King of Kings, Lord of Lords, all powerful smiter. So I was very scared of God essentially. But I was reading one of the Gospels one day, and I think it was Mark. So it's right when Jesus gets baptized. And you think about this, Jesus is God's son. He gets baptized. He hasn't performed any miracles yet, right? But then a dove comes down and God says, this is my son whom I call beloved. And it's like, wow, he didn't perform any miracles. He didn't like do anything to get God's love. He just was loved by God. And I was like, wow. And if we're supposed to be like little Christ, then we're also beloved. And that was a very pivotal moment for me as well. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
So good. Man, this has been amazing, Jenny. So, where can people find you if they want to know more about your coaching, more about what you're doing? Where can people find you?
Yeah, amazing. I'm on Instagram as Wild Grace Coaching, and I have a brand new website launching in the next few weeks, wildgracecoaching.co.
Awesome. I love that people are using co too, because also I'm God willing, fingers crossed, I'm launching my website today. It's taken a little bit longer than I wanted, but life goes on. But mine is going to be my self-care catalyst.co. So I'm like, this is becoming a real thing. I used to think that was like a scam when I used to see it, but now I know it's legit. So
I love that.
awesome.
Yeah, well, thank you so much for the beautiful conversation and yeah, just really honoring what you're building
Oh,
and
thank you. And
yeah,
right back at you. Like, I love that you're doing that somatic work. And if anyone's interested in finding more about that, I'll try to find a good researched website or link to give you resources on that because it's just amazing how our body works and it's amazing how we carry stress and there's a lot of people who have been diagnosed with PTSD, and it's not only the people who have gone to war, but just little things in your life could cause that stress. And the thing is, we have to release it. We can't just keep it locked in. So there are so many resources for you out there, and I love that you're doing that work, Jenny.
yeah, thank you.
You are welcome. Well, everyone, thank you for joining us today. For more amazing content like this, please follow and subscribe, and we'll see you next time. Take care.